Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
All right. Welcome to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. I am Robert A. Lane, your host for the podcast today. I am an audiobook coach and producer. I specialize in helping nonfiction authors narrate their own audiobook. So if you are a nonfiction author and you've written a book and it's out there in the world for people to read, the next level you need to take your book to is turning it into an audiobook that you, as the author, narrate yourself. And again, put it out there for the world to hear, because nobody can tell your story better than you. No narrator, no AI, just you the author, because it's your story. And that's why it's so important. And that is why, as an audiobook coach and producer, I'm a big advocate of having nonfiction authors narrate their own audiobook. All nonfiction authors should narrate their own audiobook because, as I mentioned, it is your story. No one can tell your story better than you. You lived it, you breathed it, you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. This is your story. Nobody can tell your story better than you. And I do mention about other narrators. There are fantastic people who are voiceovers, who are narrators, who do a great job with narration. But when it comes to your nonfiction book, your story, your memoir, your coaching program, your poetry, your educational book, whatever you're writing your nonfiction book about, it's, again, because it's in your unique style, which is your unique voice. And when another narrator narrates your audiobook, they're actually going to be interpreting it their way, not your way. And it's important for you to interpret your audiobook your way, because that's part of your author brand. That's who you are. That's part of what makes you you. So again, very important for you to narrate your own audiobook. I do have an audiobook coaching program, by the way. That's what I do for a living, and I love it. And it is called Your Book, Your Voice. And it's a 6-week program where I take you from setup and preparation of your own recording space to teaching you the fine art of audiobook narration. And then, of course, getting you uploaded for publication on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, the AAA. You really do need to be on those distribution platforms, and any other distribution platform that works best for you, for your book and for your author brand. We'll do that for you as well. The first step, of course, is if you do want to find out more information about what I do as an audiobook coach, you can always book a call with me, which I'd love to speak with you, find out more about your book, find out what your marketing goals are, what you want to do with your audiobook, and I'll tell you more about the program and how you can utilize this great tool of having an audiobook to expand your business, make more money, and get the word out there and have people not only read your book, but now hear you tell your story. So for those of you who are watching the live broadcast, because we are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and glad to be here to be able to do that for you, which means that you can also participate in the show. You can comment or you can call in. We do have a phone number that's up on the screen. But if you'd like to book a call, again, and it's also in the description as well, but we have it up on the screen, and that link is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. By all means, go ahead and book a call. Another thing that I wanted to share with you, of course, is that I love giving things away, and I have a great freebie for you, and that is an audiobook narration reference guide, which will give you some great tools and pointers and techniques and things that you can do to bring out your best as an audiobook narrator, because you are going to narrate your own book, and this guide can help you. It's a free PDF download. Want you to have it because, again, anything that can help you do a better narration, if I can help you out, there you go. Grab it. All right. Again, the link is bit.ly/narration reference guide. All right, we got that taken care of. And again, you can always go to my website, which is robertlanecoaching.com, has everything up there for you as well. But I do want to dive into our topic for today because I feel it's really, really important, and it is a crucial element on being able to do a great audiobook narration. And what is the best audiobook tool? What is the best audiobook tool to do a great narration? Confidence. Confidence is a fantastic tool, and it's not really just a tool. It should be part of who you are because it goes way beyond just a tool or technique. It really is part of who you are. Having confidence, not only as an audiobook narrator when you narrate your own audiobook, but having this confidence, believing in yourself, spills over to every aspect of your life, your business, your personal life, any projects that you do. If you need to make a presentation, anything that requires you to have confidence. It really does apply to every aspect of your life. But we're going to focus, of course, how it deals with your audiobook and how you do your audiobook narration. Now, again, when you create your audiobook, maybe you're not familiar with the process. When you do record an audiobook, it is done in sections. So I'll grab my book, for example. When I published my book, Lights, Action, You, this book has 14 chapters. So that's 14 separate audio files that you're creating for your audiobook. And then every other part of your book is also a separate audio file. So you have your opening credits, your closing credits, your prologue, your epilogue, your introduction, your foreword, your acknowledgments, dedication page. It's a lot of material. But the point is, all of this is done as separate audio files. And it actually makes the process of recording your audiobook a lot easier because you could just take things a section at a time. Now, why I have my clients set up their own recording space? Because it gives you the freedom to be able to record on your schedule, as opposed to trying to find a recording studio, make sure that they're professional enough and they understand the art of audiobook narration and know how to record you and how to do it in a, well, let's say it this way, making sure that your audio files meet the exact specifications for publication. Because there could be a ton of great studios out there that say, hey, come in and record, but if they don't record you properly and do it the way that is accepted by Audible, Amazon, Apple, and any other distribution platform, you will get rejected, and you don't want that to happen. So I do help my clients set up their own recording space, and I do provide them, by the way, with the professional equipment that they need to do that. But that's what makes it great to be able to do it on your own schedule in a comfortable space that you are comfortable in. And that does play into confidence, because if you're in a comfortable space, it's going to make you feel more relaxed and build more confidence in doing your audiobook narration. And you don't have to be a professional speaker. You'll still do a fantastic job. So again, it's not just hitting the record button and going. You really have to put yourself in the right frame of mind. And we're going to talk about mindset in just a little bit. But how do you define confidence? How do you define confidence? Are you a confident person? I'm giving you a little time to think about that. I think we are confident about some things that we do in our life, and maybe we're not so confident with other things. So when it comes to defining what confidence is, basically it's a feeling of self-assurance, and it's a feeling of your own abilities, right? Confidence is being self-assured with the abilities that you have. So you can ask yourself this question as well: are you 100% confident in your own voice? That's a big question, and it's a big concept to think about, because a lot of the authors that I work with in my audiobook coaching program aren't confident with their own voice. I hear this a lot. I hate my voice. I don't like how I sound. Or they say, another narrator will do a better job. Again, as a nonfiction author, really, there is nobody more qualified than you to narrate your own book. You are the one. You're the best one. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, there are great narrators out there, but it's their interpretation and not yours. They're going to tell your story their way, not your way. And it's crucial, especially when you're preserving the integrity of your author brand. It's crucial for you to preserve that voice, which is in your written word. That's part of your author brand. That's part of who you are. That voice of yours is in the written word. And it's crucial to preserve the integrity of your voice by narrating it yourself. So when it comes to your own voice, do you love your voice? Do you hate your voice? Are you just indifferent about it? Even indifference is going to come through in your narration. So you need to love and you need to embrace this wonderful sound that comes out of your body, this great voice, this sound. And I get it. When I first heard my voice, I was like, no, do I sound like that? I get it. And most people feel that way because what we hear, obviously, the sound that's resonating in our head and, our ears are internal here. So what we hear isn't going to be a representation of what other people hear. So when you do hear your voice back, a lot of people are sometimes surprised. Hey, wow, I really sound like that? But it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's really a good thing. So you have to have confidence in your voice. You got to love and embrace, again, this wonderful sound that comes out of your body because that is part of who you are. I've talked before on previous podcasts about the author brand and how important the author brand is because you are a brand. You are a brand, and everything about you, everything who you are, everything that encompasses your life, your upbringing, your values, your belief systems, your habits, all of that, everything about you is your author brand because that's what you bring to the table. You brought that to the table when you wrote your book, and you will definitely be bringing that to the table when it comes to narrating your own audiobook. That's part of your author brand. Remember, everything about you, voice included, is your author brand. So love it and embrace it. The other thing that I love saying, and I'll just say it again, because I think it's awesome that you as an author have written and published a book. You've put your mind to doing something and completing a monumental task by creating and publishing your book, your nonfiction book. That is such a great thing. And what does that make you? That makes you an entrepreneur. And that's a great thing. It's a great thing. Entrepreneurship is not an easy job. It really isn't. But what's great about you publishing your book, which is something that you should be very proud of and also build confidence of what you've done, because that does feed into it, is that is such a great accomplishment. And that does make you an entrepreneur because you are an author brand. And it doesn't matter whether you write professionally or you wrote your book at nights and weekends. When I wrote my book, I never considered myself a professional writer. I hired a book coach to help me through the process because that was the best decision to do to write my book. And it was a great decision. It was worth hiring a coach. Every penny that I paid to hire that coach was 100% worth it. And it's always great to have somebody as your support system to be there for you every step of the way. And maybe you had a coach when you were writing your book. If you did, that's great. That's why I love coaching for the audiobook side of it too, because there are a lot of barriers that I find that people put up in regards to doing their own narration. And we need to crush those barriers. We need to knock them down. And a lot of it stems from lack of confidence. So the best audiobook tool, and I use that term loosely because it's more than just a tool, confidence really is key to be able to present yourself in an engaging and compelling way when you do your audiobook. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. Glad to be here. So happy you're hanging out. We're going to dive into mindset and why that is so important. And we're really going to take apart how to build confidence and things that you can do to really love and embrace that wonderful sound that comes out of your body, which is your voice. I'm Robert A. Lane. We will be right back. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
And welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. Our topic today is the best audiobook tool for narration. And what is that tool? Confidence. And like I mentioned before the break, it's more than just a tool. Confidence is something that is inside of you that you need to bring out and keep with you all the time through your entire life. We're going to talk about mindset. Why is mindset so important? Mindset is really important when it comes to narrating your own audiobook because you do have to be in the right frame of mind before you even hit that record button. Being in the right frame of mind means being focused, of course, being grounded, being in the present moment. You cannot have any distractions. You can't be thinking about the past. You can't be thinking about things you need to take care of. You can't be thinking about any other thing that is going to be a distraction from you doing a great audiobook narration. And the other thing is just awareness. And that's also part of mindset. Awareness of your surroundings, awareness of, for example, if you are setting up your recording space and let's say it's in your home and you have a home office or maybe it's in your bedroom somewhere, that's a comfortable space that you're going to be doing your audiobook narration. And if there are other people in the house, make sure you tell them, hey, I'm going to spend the next couple hours recording. Please don't disturb me. That's another thing that does play into confidence. Just to share a little story with you, I'm very when I was growing up, I'm very introverted, very very shy kid, and I still have that a little bit, though I put myself out there, and I do love doing this. So I think I've grown a lot over the years to build my confidence to how I am today. But even today, if I'm practicing for a keynote speech, for example, or something where I need to talk out loud, I like doing it when there's nobody at the house, when there's nobody around, because it helps me mentally with confidence. But why? Why is that still a factor? And that's something that I want to share with you in regards to figuring out a barrier. That is actually a barrier for me when it comes to speaking And when it comes to narration, when it comes to recording and playing music, all of that, I'm very self-conscious about that. I'm self-conscious about myself. But I have to strip away the layers. And this is the technique that I wanted to share with you, is stripping away the layers to figure out the core reason. What is it that is stopping me or creating this barrier or this uncomfortableness of not being able to practice my speech or record my audiobook, or like I said, record music or play music and when other people are home? Why is that? And that can actually be a tough question. Sometimes for you, maybe there was a situation that was very specific that stands out. Oh, I was forced into performing when I was in kindergarten on stage, and it really was a bad experience. And it's ingrained into my subconscious. So now when I speak or when I try to record my audiobook or when there's people around, I get really nervous and then I don't want to do it. That could be a reason. For me, honestly, I have a hard time nailing it down to one specific reason, though I can think of several situations being pushed into something that was very uncomfortable at a very young age. And even though it doesn't seem like much, and of course your parents who are pushing you to do something that maybe you don't want to do, but you're forced into doing it anyway, the parents and the adults don't see it as such a traumatic thing. But as a kid, it can be. And maybe that's the thing that's stopping you from being relaxed enough to narrate your own audiobook. And again, stripping away the layers, because it does come down to a fear. Maybe you're just afraid of how you sound. Maybe you're afraid of making mistakes. Maybe you're afraid of failure. Maybe you're afraid, again, of what other people think. The other story that I want to share with you is, and I wrote about it in my book, and this isn't exactly audiobook material, but it does have to do with confidence because that's what we're talking about today. I have a story in here that's called, what do they call it? Brown bag it, right? Or no, double bag it. Double bag it. That's the story in here. It's called Double Bag It. And what it has to do is when I was working in the entertainment industry, I spent 30 plus years working in the entertainment business. My last 14 years were at 20th Century Fox. So this happened at when I was at Fox Studios in Los Angeles, working on the studio a lot. And I would go to the gym. I did boot camp classes twice a week, and then I would go on my own time and work out. And so the walk from where my building was to where the gym was, because they did have a gym on the lot, was about a 10-minute walk. Now, it's called double bag it because my gym bag was a double bagged brown paper bag. It wasn't a nice duffel bag or something really fancy or anything like that. It was a double bagged brown paper bag. But you know what? I love this double bagged brown paper bag. It was a great gym bag. I had everything layered exactly the way I wanted it. My gym clothes, my shoes, everything that I needed. It was great. Change of clothes, all that. It was great. I really liked it. However, I had coworkers who would tease me about my double bagged brown paper bag because it was a double bagged brown paper bag. It wasn't a real gym bag. And they say, why don't you just get a real gym bag? And even when I walked to the gym or I would be changing in the locker room, people would be kind of looking at you funny, like, come on, really? But for me, it worked. It did what I needed it to do, and I was happy with it. However, the walk, that 10-minute walk from my office all the way to the gym, I would get self-conscious at times. And I would be a little bit embarrassed, even though people may not even know that there were gym clothes in the bag. I knew that. And that was raising a barrier. So this is a little catchphrase that I say to myself that I want to share with you because maybe this will help you in regards to building confidence when it comes to narrating your audiobook. So first thing I would just say is, Who cares what other people think? Who cares what other people think? And it's not saying it in a mean or vindictive way. It's just stating fact. Honestly, who cares what other people think? Stating a fact. Then I would follow this up with my catchphrase. I am who I am. I do what I do, and I am not ashamed of it. Period. That's all I needed to say, and it just gave me the confidence to hold my head high, walking with my double bagged brown paper bag gym bag across the studio lot, and it was fine. I was very confident about that. And it's funny because of that, because of having confidence, because of being able to hold my head high and walk across the studio lot and be in the locker room. And I didn't care what anybody thought. I loved my gym bag, my double bag, brown paper bag. It worked. It worked for me. And because I had confidence, I had coworkers eventually bringing brown paper bags to work to give to me to say, jokingly, of course, they're like, hey, look at this. I brought you another gym bag. And I'd be like, hey, right on, perfect. And I took it. And eventually people in the gym, in the locker rooms would say, that's actually not such a bad idea. And I would explain to them, I have it layered exactly the way I want it. I don't have to spend a ton of money buying a gym bag that's going to get all stinky and smelly and dirty, and you can't get that workout stench out of your bag. And you have to throw it out, get another one, and spend, who knows, $50, $100, whatever people buy for a nice fancy gym bag. No, I got this double bag brown paper bag. Once it gets worn out, you put it in recycling. Grab a couple more bags, double bag it, new gym bag. Worked out great. So it made a lot of sense to me. And actually, I think it started to make a lot of sense for some other people as well. So I know, a little silly story, but again, it's just a demonstration of how you can say one thing or do one thing that will build confidence, that will build a level of confidence with yourself that will spill over into your audiobook narration. Just by saying that little catchphrase, I am who I am, I do what I do, and I am not ashamed of it. Apply that to your audiobook narration. You are who you are, right? That is your author brand. You do what you do. That is, again, still part of your author brand. I am who I am. This is who I am. I wrote my book. This is my story. And I am not ashamed of it. This is my voice. I am not ashamed of it. I love my voice. I love my voice. My voice is part of my author brand. That's how you build confidence. Tell yourself these things. You are who you are, right? Say that. Stand in front of the mirror. Go, I am who I am. I do what I do, and I am not ashamed of it. Done. Now you are in the right frame of mind. You're getting to the point where you're just about ready to hit that record button to start narrating your audiobook. Again, being in that right frame of mind, building that confidence. But it does really start with loving your voice and appreciating the sound that you have. You do have a great voice, all right? Love it and embrace it. Because again, no one can express your story, speak your story, tell your story better than you. As the nonfiction author who wrote the book, it is your story, and your voice is a crucial component of your author brand and of telling that story. We all imagine a voice in our heads when we're reading a book. I do, and I think most people do. So why not turn your book into an audiobook with your actual voice so people can hear it? All right. That's why it is so important, number one, for you to narrate your own audiobook, and why mindset is so important. Because you do want to be in the right frame of mind. You don't want to have any distractions, and you need to feel confident about your voice before you hit that record button. Because these subtleties, these are the intangibles. These are the things that people don't necessarily physically touch, but you emotionally feel. These are the things, these intangibles are what makes a great audiobook. That's why when you bring your energy and you bring your focus and you bring that confidence into your narration, the listener will pick up on that. The listener will hear that. They will hear your confidence. They will hear that you are 100% invested in sharing your story, telling your story, speaking your story, and they will be engaged. Your listeners will be engaged. They're going to be more engaged in what you have to say because it's your content that has drawn them in. It's not just your voice, it is your content. The voice is great, and it is, of course, a crucial part of your author brand because you're telling your story in your own unique personality and your own unique style. Remember, you are the CEO of you as an entrepreneur, another catchphrase, you're the CEO of you. And that is a great thing. That is a great thing. And that's what makes you unique. And that's what allows you to stand out. That's a wonderful thing. Your author brand is unique to you and only you. And your voice is unique to you, only you. And because of that, whether you're a coach or you're sharing a memoir or telling a story, again, that's what allows you to stand out in the crowd is your uniqueness. It's your uniqueness. It's about you telling your story. That's what's so important. So love and embrace your voice. Get into the right mindset. Be focused and confident because that's what's going to make a great narration. That's what takes that book from being just a mediocre read to a fantastic storytelling narration. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. We're going to take another quick break. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, by the way. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about the fear aspect because there is another technique that I want to share with you, and about other things that you can do to build confidence in your voice. We'll be right back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality? But it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating. Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
And this is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Robert A. Lane. Before we dive in more about building confidence and things that you can do to help build your confidence when it comes to audiobook narration, just a reminder that I do have a freebie. I do, that I want to send to you, which you can easily download. You can go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com. You'll see a thing that says free audiobook narration reference guide. There's also a link that you can grab. It's one which is in the description. And of course, we do have a little graphic on the screen for you to check out as well. It has the link on there, which is bit.ly/narration reference guide. Grab yourself a copy of that. There's some really cool tools and techniques to help you do a great audiobook narration. Not only do I talk about the practical aspects of how to do a narration. Of course, mic placement and body posture and all sorts of other physical techniques that you do need to do a great audiobook narration. But I also talk about what we've been talking about on the podcast today, and that's the intangibles, those things you can't necessarily physically touch, but you can emotionally feel, because bringing that emotion into your narration is really the secret sauce that draws that listener in. So grab yourself a copy of that guide. All right. So again, our topic is best audiobook tool when it comes to narration. The best audiobook tool when it comes to narration, and that is confidence. We've been talking about confidence and things that you can do to help build confidence and break down any barriers that may be stopping you from either doing an audiobook or doing your own narration of your audiobook. Because remember, all nonfiction authors need to narrate their own book. If you're a nonfiction author, you need to narrate your own audiobook because it is your story. No other person can express and tell your story better than you, hands down. You lived it, you breathed it. This is your story. I've had clients who've talked about traumatic experiences that they've been through, the loss of a spouse, being in a religious cult, going through cancer. These are very, very personal memoirs and stories that these authors have shared that I've worked with. And I wouldn't want anybody to tell their story except them, because they lived it. And really, no one can express it better than the author, because again, they lived it. It's their story. It's all them. All right. So I did mention a little earlier about fear. Now, of course, remember I gave you that little catchphrase about the brown paper bag story, and that was, "I am who I am. I do what I do, and I'm not ashamed of it. And who cares what other people think? Who cares what other people think? Because again, it's your voice. This is who you are. That's part of your author brand. Love it and embrace it." I mentioned about fear and about stripping away the layers, and that is another way to, again, get down to it. I talked a little bit about that, but I do want to break that down again into another one of the infamous Robert E. Lane catchphrases that can help you hopefully crush those fears, crush those barriers, and get rid of those false beliefs. And that's another important thing when it comes to building confidence in your audiobook narration is not believing in things that aren't true. And we do this all the time. I hate my voice. I don't think I have a good voice. Yes, you do. Quit telling yourself that, because your subconscious is going to hear this, and your subconscious will be, okay, yeah, your voice sucks. That's a false belief. You got to crush that false belief. That's not good, because you do have a great voice. You really do. So again, the fuel that you are putting into your subconscious, which is your belief system, your habits, these thoughts are what fuels your subconscious. So put good fuel in there. The subconscious doesn't differentiate reality from imaginary, right? From fantasy. If you say, "Oh, I have a horrible voice," and you don't, then your subconscious is going to believe it. There was an exercise that I used to, when I was doing the life coaching and career coaching, just to make people understand how powerful the subconscious is. I used to do this exercise where you close your eyes and you imagine yourself on a high-rise building, and you you imagine yourself walking over to the edge of the building, and you lean over and you look down and you see all these little cars. They're so small, and you can barely see the people because you're so high up, and you're imagining everything. What's the weather like up there? Is there wind blowing? Is any of these senses? Because what you're doing is you're triggering these senses. And how does that feel as you lean over this high-rise building, and then you step back, and now you're back standing in the middle of the roof. So now that danger has been taken away. And what happens is that your subconscious, whether that you imagined it or whether it was real. Now, of course, you have your eyes closed and you're imagining this and visualizing this. Your subconscious isn't going to differentiate that from reality. So what happens? Your body will react. I've had people who've gone through that. They say, "Oh man, my hands got all sweaty and it was like a cold sweat and my heart rate went up and my breathing started uh, accelerating when I looked over the edge of that building." Because then remember, they're imagining this. And that is the power of the subconscious. So you need to reprogram that subconscious and remove these negative thoughts and replace them with positive thoughts and positivity. So the catchphrase that I want to share with you goes like this: face it, embrace it, purge it, replace it. This uh, applies to eliminating any kind of fears, any kind of barriers that are stopping you from doing what you need to do, what you know you need to do, what you know is best for your author brand and for your business. Narrating your own audiobook is a great business decision, but you have to have the confidence and believe in yourself to be able to pull it off and pull it off well. So strip away those layers, right? So, and you can utilize that catchphrase to help you through those steps. So face it, you're facing your fear, all right? You face your fear. Facing your fear is basically acknowledging that this fear exists. I'm I'm nervous about talking into a microphone. I'm afraid of people not liking my voice. Okay, valid fear. All right. So you've acknowledged it. Now you're going to embrace it. And I don't say confront your fears. Confrontation is negative. Embracing is positive. You're still doing the same thing, but keep it in a positive sense. Embrace the fear. Embrace the fear means when you strip away those layers and getting down to the root cause of what it is that is causing you to put up that barrier, you will discover that and then you embrace it. And just some people journal about it, some people talk about it out loud. I do. I'll talk about things just to get it out of my system. All right. So you face it and you embrace it. The third part of the phrase is purge it. Purge it. Purge it means now that you faced and embraced your fear, now you can move it aside. Okay. Moving it aside. Now that doesn't mean that that fear is not going to come back, because it may, and it can take some time to really overcome certain fears. Okay. So allow yourself that. And don't be hard on yourself if you're like, okay, I moved it aside. And then, 2 hours later, you're like, I'm all scared again. I have this fear again. That's okay. It's a process. All right. It's a process. So purging it means just moving it aside. And you're moving it aside to do this, the last part of the phrase, which is replace it. Face it, embrace it, purge it. Now you're going to replace it. What are you replacing it with? You're replacing it with positive affirmations. Positive affirmations are great, all right? And especially when it comes to narrating your own audiobook. And I have my authors, when they go through the program that I teach, my audiobook coaching program, I have them write out 10 affirmations about themselves to build that confidence. And a lot of things are just affirmations like, I love my voice. I have a great voice. I have a wonderful story to tell. I am the best narrator ever. No one can narrate my book better than me. There are a ton of affirmations that you can create about yourself and about your voice and about your author brand, about you being an author, about you being an entrepreneur now. Yeah, write them out. Write them out. And then the key to doing this, to really making it effective, to really reprogramming your subconscious to eliminate the negative and bad fuel and replacing it with the positive and good fuel, is you don't write it out and then read it and then put it aside. You need to read it until you feel it, because once you feel it, then your subconscious will believe you. You really got to embrace it and you really got to feel it if you're really going to have your subconscious believe it. So read those affirmations. Read them over. I love my voice. I have a great voice. Close your eyes, whatever it takes. Read that list. Put it on your computer. Put it on the refrigerator. Put it on the bathroom mirror. Put it next to your bed. Make a bunch of copies of it. Put it everywhere so that you can read it and you can tell yourself that. all the time. I am a great narrator. I love my voice. I am confident. You are confident because that will build that confidence. Say it. Say it until you feel it. Feel it until you believe it. That's when you're going to make a change. All right. I love my voice. I am confident in my voice. No one can tell my story better than me. As a nonfiction author, again, you are the best person and the most qualified person to narrate your own audiobook. Believe it. You got to believe it. Love it and believe it. Love that voice. Believe in yourself. Believe in your voice. You have what it takes. You had what it took to write your book in the first place. And that is a huge accomplishment. So you have what it takes to narrate your own audiobook. And that will be another great, huge accomplishment as well. You do have what it takes. And the beauty about narrating your own audiobook, and this is the part that I just really love, is the fact that you are leaving your legacy in your own voice. It's great to have the book. It's great to have a physical copy or an ebook or even your hardcover. It's great. It's great to have that aspect of your author brand and that product of your author brand in book form. But man, to really hit it home, put it in your own voice. That's preserving your legacy. We'll dive into that in just a little bit. And I do want to share with you a little bit more about the audiobook coaching program that I teach. Confidence, man. We're going to wrap things up after we take our last break here. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. We are streaming live on the Bold Braves TV network.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, our topic being the best audiobook tool, which is confidence. Well, one thing I want to share with you is this. For those of you who are catching the live stream as we do the podcast live, don't be afraid to ask some questions, put a comment in, give us a call. I'd love to hear from you and your experiences, or if you have questions about the audiobook world. That's why I do this. I'm here to answer those questions for you. If you are catching the replay, you could always put something in the comments if you have any questions. Or if there's an aspect of the audiobook world that you would like me to talk about, let me know. I'll definitely talk about it and put that in as a topic for one of the podcasts. All right. So just to wrap things up in regards to confidence, you need to have confidence because that confidence spills over into your narration. And it is subtle, but we pick it up. We pick it up in our ears. Your listener will pick up those subtleties. If you're hesitant, if you're not confident, if your energy is not there, We'll sense it. As human beings, that's what we do, and we're good at it. We can tell. Sometimes we may not understand the reasoning. Oh, that story was good, but I don't know. There's just something about the way it was told. Just I don't know. I just didn't really feel it. Well, it's those intangibles. The energy wasn't there. The emotion wasn't there. You weren't on top of your game. That's why it is so important to have that confidence, loving your voice, believing in yourself, believing in your voice, and bringing that to the table. And one of the other things that I want to share with you is this. Always be tapped in to the core reason of why you wrote your book in the first place. Why was it so important for you to write this nonfiction book and publish it out there for the world to read? That same reasoning, that same purpose is what goes into your audiobook narration. So always be tapped in to your core reason. And just as a wrap-up reminder about the infamous catchphrases I shared with you today, again, tell yourself this if you are feeling hesitant or maybe lacking some confidence. Number one, I don't care what other people think. Who cares what other people think? And you're saying that as a statement of fact. Don't be vindictive. You're stating it as a fact. I don't care what other people think. And then follow that up with, I am who I am. I do what I do. And I am not ashamed of it. And believe it. All right. The other thing when you are dealing with fear is face it, embrace it, purge it, replace it. That's the other catchphrase I wanted to share with you. Face it, embrace it, purge it, and replace it. Deal with the fear, strip away the layers, figure out what it is, what's the root cause, embrace the fact that that's there, journal about it, talk about it, get it out of your system, purge it to the side, bring in positive affirmations, things that you can do to put good positive fuel back into your subconscious because you want to crush those false beliefs and you want to get rid of any barriers that are stopping you from narrating your own audiobook. It's that simple, all right? The other catchphrase, I guess there were 3, wasn't there? You are the CEO of you, right? That means you are an entrepreneur, which I want you to embrace your entrepreneurship because that's who you are. As an author, you've got a published book. It doesn't matter if you are a professional writer or not professional, meaning you are professional. I want to clear that up. You are professional. What I'm saying is that you don't write for a living. That's okay. You still are an entrepreneur. So love your author brand. All right. Your products, of course, ebook, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook. There you go. If your book is not in audiobook form, I'd love to work with you and have you get into the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. Again, this is a 6-week intensive where I take you step by step, and we do one-on-one coaching, step by step, how to set up your own recording space, which I provide you with the professional equipment that is yours to keep, microphone, headphones, and everything you need, yours to keep. Telling you the fine art of what it takes to do a great audiobook narration. Not only the practical, but those intangibles. Remember, the tangibles are the secret sauce of what creates a great audiobook. The emotion, the feelings, the energy, those things are what really makes a great audiobook. So that's why I say being tapped into the core reason of why you do what you do, why you wrote your book, always being tapped into that when you do your narration because that comes through and your listener will definitely pick up on that. And then the other aspect of the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program is that since I've been an audio editor for 25 plus years, I do all the audio editing for you. As you record your audiobook, you're sending me your files. I clean them up, make sure they do meet the exact specifications for publication on Audible, Amazon, Apple, and any other distribution platform. And then I will upload your audiobook for you into Audible, Amazon, and Apple, so you don't have to worry about that step. Because in that way, I know for sure that your files, your audiobook files are great. They are accepted, you will not be rejected, and you will have your audiobook ready for publication by the end of the 6-week program. And really, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. You can do it, and you do have what it takes. But believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and have confidence. And part of what I teach, it's not just one-on-ones. I have video lessons and downloadable reference materials and everything in the program. But part of the program is not just here's your equipment, hit record. We talk about mindset. We talk about building confidence. We talk about how important it is to love it and embrace your voice. And of course, tools to help you be engaging and compelling and conversational. And most importantly, being your authentic self, because that is what allows you to stand out in the crowd. There's only one step that you need to do. You can go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com and book a call with me. Simple audiobook consultation call. We also have a graphic on the screen for you to check out there as well. If you're listening to the podcast and you're not seeing the video, if you're checking out a replay, the link is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. But it's probably easier just to go to the website because everything is there. There's plenty of buttons to book a call, and definitely right at the top of the website is the little button for you to grab your free audiobook narration reference guide as well. All right. So, my friends, be confident, love and embrace this wonderful sound that comes out of your body, because that is part of who your author brand is. That's part of who you are. So love it and embrace it. And remember, as a nonfiction author, you do need to narrate your own audiobook, because no one can tell your story better than you. And finally, my friends, my last assignment to you is when you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello, give them a compliment. It takes 10 seconds out of your day. But that small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer, because the more people who do that, you can make a change. As a collective, we can do it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. We'll be talking to you next week. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I got to get that right. And again, have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, my friends.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.